Hey guys, this is my full review of the Oppo Find 7, which is in my opinion one of the biggest competitors of the OnePlus One. They are quite similar, but there are a lot of differences after all. And if you want to know what they are, let's check them out in my full review. So let's damn it. So I want to let you know one thing, another video and another new form factor. Why I'm doing this? Because I wanted to try something else, and because of the biggest reason, I wanted to make my videos easier digestible, because sometimes they weren't too long and they were a bit hard for me to make it, and I also feel I couldn't really deliver all my personal feelings of the device, and I hope this form factor will allow me to do this. Let us quickly cover the specs. We have a Snapdragon 801, a 5.5-inch 1080p screen, 2800 milliamps hour of battery, 16 GB storage with SD card support, and the device weighs 170 grams. So as always, let's start with the design and the build quality, because this is one area where the device really shines. But let's start with the bad things first. The first bad thing is the power button placement, in my opinion, because it is very high on top and not easy to reach. The good thing though is you don't really need it that often, because you have double tap to wake, you can see the device is awake, and double tap to sleep on the home button. So you don't really need a power button. And then the good thing is about the power button placement and the volume rocker placement. You have the volume rocker on the right side, which allows you to quickly and easily access the power button, which then is convenient if you use it a lot. So that's the good thing. The device itself is incredibly well built. It feels extremely solid, and it's also very sturdy due to the weight. And this is one thing I have to mention. The device is slightly more narrow than the OnePlus One, therefore thicker, and it's 10 grams heavier. But the good thing is this device somehow feels so incredibly compact for a 5.5-inch device. I think it is because of the more narrow design, because those maybe not even 2 millimeters less than the OnePlus One makes such a big difference. And even though the device is thicker, it feels so much better in the hand. And this is also because of this amazing back. You have this carbon look, but it feels kinda hard, but also kinda smooth. It is really hard to explain. It's slightly soft, but it feels incredibly well. It is a bit more slippery than the OnePlus One, but if you have slightly moisty hands, it feels grippy and it is amazing. One thing I don't also like is the speaker placement at the back. At the back, sorry, this is stupid. Put it at the top, put it at the bottom, but don't put it at the back. You also cover it all the time. I will talk about more this in the audio part, but I don't like the placement as well. One thing, it does creak a little bit. Maybe you can hear it, but this is due to the removable back cover. It is not bad at all, and it doesn't really make the device feel any less premium than it is. But since it is removable and it is a back, sometimes you can hear it, but in normal use it still feels amazing. But the best part of this device in the design is the feel in the hand, and I mentioned this in the Google Plus post of mine, comparing it with the OnePlus One. This is what almost kills the OnePlus One for me, because the feel in the hand and especially the weight distribution is so amazing. Because if you have a very tall device, you could have a top-heavy device. But the good thing here is somehow this device with its weight distribution feels very bottom-heavy. So if you hold it like this and you do something and want to reach the top, you never have to be afraid so it will fall out of your hand. What it does on the OnePlus One sometimes, because it is very evenly distributed in the weight. This is not, and I really like this a lot. It feels absolutely stunning and the design is absolutely perfect. Okay, let's talk about the display now. We have a 5.5-inch display with a 1080p resolution, and I think this is easily sharp enough. I had no problem. Some people say they see pixels, but if you see pixels on 5.5 inches with 1080p, I don't know, you are looking too close. I don't think it's any problem. It was very sharp, really nice. The good thing is the device is very bright, but I would say maybe 10% less bright than the OnePlus One. It is definitely good enough. The white is good, slightly warm. This is very easy to watch for longer times, because the OnePlus One, mine at least, is very cold, what I personally love. And I would love this to be a bit colder, but it is a really pleasant white. No problem at all. I have ever so slightly yellow tint at the bottom, but just in the left corner, but this is no problem at all and almost never visible, so this is not the issue. The blacks are good, nothing to complain here. I'm fine with that. It is no AMOLED, of course. Fine. Colors are slightly muted if you have a really bright, vivid display in comparison. The OnePlus One with my slightly different settings looks a bit more vivid, more brilliant. This looks slightly washed out, especially if you're watching videos and do a head-to-head comparison. I will do this in my in-depth comparison video with those two. You will notice it looks slightly washed out. Not a problem at all. The colors otherwise are very accurate, more accurate than maybe on the OnePlus One, but I changed the settings, so this is not a problem. The viewing angles are fine. Horizontally, vertically, no problem at all. Of course, diagonally, it loses a bit. But in overall, this display is, I would say, at least 8 out of 10. I don't give a 10, so it is very close. It is no 9 because I would like it to be a bit brighter and a bit more saturated, not so washed out, but it is a definitely more than satisfying display in overall. Let's cover the sound now, and what I usually now do is I make a demonstration, show this, and I will cut this in right now. So you've heard the sound, let's talk about what I think about it. First of all, the maximum volume is quite good. Compared to a Nexus 5, it is way louder. Compared to a OnePlus One, it is a bit less loud. It is definitely okay, should be fine for most of the things. The tonal balance is okay. Slightly more bass than the OnePlus. It is really nice. It has a bit bass, what isn't a common thing these days. It is no boom sound level, but it's not that far away after all. The mids are okay. One thing I don't like so much is the treble, because it is quite toned down. You will notice the brilliant clear sound is missing a bit for me, and this is still an overall nice sound. But here's the speaker placement. I'm not happy with that at all, because it is at the back, and if you're using it like this, you do block the sound a bit, but you also reflect it, so it's not even that bad. But you mostly, if you watch sound videos, you have to use it like this, and then because the sound is already a bit muffled, I meant the treble, you will notice this even more. And you have to really be specific how close you are to the device, so you get it to reflect, so you get a better sound, but not too close to not muffle it. And this is a really hard time here getting a good device, because the sound is backfiring, and it is, I just have to say, this is a bit stupid. I would have to, because otherwise the sound is okay. It is loud, and it does a very good job in overall, but they could have done this a bit better. So way better than the Nexus 5, but not as good as on the OnePlus. What else is there to say? If we compare the headset sound, I would wish for more maximum volume, because it is not really loud for some reason. There are some enhancements, some settings, but they don't really enhance the sound in terms of the maximum volume. The OnePlus One is so much louder, I would say maybe 30%, because when I'm at maybe 70-80% on the OnePlus One to get my desired volume, I am already at 100 here. So I hope with a custom kernel or something like that you can boost this. But in overall, you get a good loud device. It is definitely louder than most of the others with a good sound, but I would definitely wish for a bit more treble, so the sound is a bit clearer. Let's talk performance now, and this is one thing I don't really have to tell a lot, because the performance is absolutely brilliant. Everything is smooth, all apps run fine, games as well, no problems at all. The browser performance is flawless, very smooth, very nice rendering times. Overall, we are using ColorOS, so the device maybe feels a bit more sluggish when you're within the OS itself, and the device isn't really perfectly optimized in terms of the OS. But whatever you do runs fine, but it feels slightly kind of hindered because of ColorOS. Maybe a little bit less snappy just because of that. Wi-Fi reception is very good, but the cell reception is not great, and the same issue I have on the OnePlus with my data connection timing out, I have also on the Oppo. I am in contact with the support of OnePlus and Oppo trying to find a solution. I seem to be a very rare case to have this problem, but I have it, and it doesn't really let me use either of the devices, because right now when I'm out, I use both devices and I don't get any internet with them at all, because the one right now has a working internet, but on a different carrier, which is super slow in my area. And this one on my, which is my regular one, has a very fast internet, but it is not reliable. I hope to find a solution there. I think I'm one of the very few persons to have this problem, but you should definitely maybe keep this in mind. But overall, as I said, performance faster than the Nexus 5, and I would say maybe 90-95% of the performance of the OnePlus, but I think mostly because of ColorOS. In normal, if you don't have a direct comparison, you won't notice any difference at all, but if you have a direct comparison, you will notice it. And I think this device is thought to be used with custom ROM. So if you use a custom ROM, I think the performance will be on par. Definitely awesome. The next topic to talk about would be the battery life, which is very important for a lot of people. And like always, I start with the full charge. It needs about slightly over than 67 minutes, I would say maybe 70 minutes, and that is phenomenal. It is the fastest charging device on the market. But then again, the OnePlus One also needs just 2 hours. So of course it is almost double as fast, but 2 hours is more than okay for me. But you have to remember one thing: if you want this 1 hour of charge, you need the rapid charger that gets away. And this is one thing. I only have one of those. So I mostly have it in my living room. So there I can charge quickly, but at my workplace I can't. In my bedroom I can't. So this advantage isn't really advantage everywhere, because you only have one of these. If you can get more of those, you don't have this issue. But keep this in mind, because the battery is good, but it is not great, and that's one of the weaker parts of this phone. Not weak, don't get me wrong, because it is definitely better than the Nexus 5 a lot, but it can't compete at all with the with the OnePlus One. I would say you get at least 1 hour of screen on time less, because I usually average at, I would say, in slightly heavier use with about 3.5 hours or 4 hours for screen on time over a full day. I would say maybe 16-20 hours. If you are on Wi-Fi, you can get definitely more. 5 hours are no problem over a day. But I would say the drain on cell reception was a bit hard for me, because I had a hard time on the first day to get at 4 hours of screen on time with 13 hours of total. So keep this in mind. The battery, maybe because of the reception, because I had those issues, wasn't that good, and I think I have a harder usage anyways. So I would say it is somewhere in between the Nexus 5 to the OnePlus One, maybe slightly closer to the OnePlus One. But for me, it definitely would be good enough, but I wouldn't have the reserves that I have on the OnePlus One. But if the rapid charger is a good compromise for you, that is, after all, a still very good battery life. Now it's time to talk about the software, and this is one thing most people complain a lot about, but we have, of course, ColorOS with Jelly Bean 4.3, and this is quite outdated, and yes, it has some really big disadvantages, but in overall, I'm okay with ColorOS. It has all the options on a basic ROM. You don't have anything extremely fancy stuff, but you have those black screen gestures where you can just draw something and launch an app directly, or the camera, the flashlight. This is all pretty nice, but I'm missing quite a lot of things. No lock screen notifications, you can get those afterwards. No customizable quick settings panels, and some other things. And you don't get at all a stock UI look. You can download the themes. There is a theme engine. It is not as capable as the one of the CyanogenMod team, but quite capable. You can download icon packs, lock screen, and those things. But there's also one thing you have to remember, and you have, please remove this or replace this: the launcher. The launcher is extremely limited and not really good. If you don't need a launcher for just more than keeping a few icons and widgets there, it is fine. But if you want to use more advanced features like on the Nova with the double tap and all the gestures you have on them, you won't get this. So please replace this. It is not good. Other similar stuff, There are a few important things missing I have on the OnePlus, and it is similar device. You don't have any options to customize the buttons, and this is one thing I'm missing, because on the OnePlus One you have so many button options with double tap and long press and so. And you could have this here as well with a custom ROM, but on the stock ROM you can't change anything, and I'm missing this. In terms of stability, it was fine. I had no bugs, no trouble at all. So let's say it like this, the software is capable and it does a fine job. It doesn't really bog down the device in terms of performance, but it is quite limited and outdated after all. We know 4.3, so Oppo, please take a bit more time to put into more effort into it to make an updated version of that, or give me something else. Okay, let's make a quick recap here and get through everything real quick. The build quality design is absolutely brilliant. You have a one-of-a-kind feel in the hand. And the size is no issue at all. After using 5.5-inch device like the OnePlus and the Find 7 for 3 weeks now, I don't want to go any lower. 5.5 inches is absolutely amazing. You have so much more screen real estate. Absolutely fine. I wouldn't go bigger at all because of the width. The width is the limit for me. But with the Oppo Find 7, you have the perfect sweet spot in my opinion. The display, it is nice. It is vivid, slightly washed out, but overall pretty nice. What I would really wish for is like on the OnePlus to have settings for color. White balance as well would be really fine. The sound in overall is still on a way then above average level. Still quite loud. Maybe not the best sound, but the good thing is it is bassy and it is rich, but the treble is a bit missing. Performance, I already said it. Absolutely nothing to complain. Super fast. Okay, zippy, no problem at all. Then the battery life. Also way then more than average, not great, but I would say if you are something in between of a normal user to heavy user, somewhere in between, it should be still fine. And if you have a rapid charger anywhere close to you, no problem at all. I would definitely get through a day, no issues at all. Software, I already said it, limited but capable, it works. So let's get to the part where I always say, would I recommend it and would I buy it? Would I recommend it? And I would say most definitely yes, because you get an overall extremely solid package, which isn't the best in any category, but it is on a very high level in everyone. Where it is on top of everything else in the 5.5-inch department, maybe the LG-G3 will be better, but I don't think so. It is the feel in the hand. The weight distribution, due to its 170 grams, it feels so premium, so sturdy, so really awesome in the hand, and nothing comes close to it. The OnePlus, no, not even close, because I said the OnePlus One is very natural and has nice curves, but this device crushes the OnePlus One in every terms because the feel of that is so great, believe me. But let's quickly check my notes. It is a big device over, and after all, you have to keep this in mind. So if 5-inch is really the limit for you, I don't know. But otherwise, I would recommend it. Maybe take a look at the OnePlus One, but you have some advantages here. Maybe the better support. We know about the OnePlus One support. And after all, I will do a in-depth comparison about those two. This should answer all your questions. And would I buy it? And here I have to say I'm very, very tempted, and I'm so close to buying it, and I still haven't decided yet. I hope I will have decided until my in-depth comparison, because right now, if it's just for the feel in the hand, and if it would be maybe a little bit more battery life, so I have more reserves with custom ROMs, I am really having a hard time, because the device is in overall so amazing, and I still haven't decided yet. So I think I would buy it, definitely would recommend it. But the build quality is exceptional, and everything else is also, the device really doesn't have any flaw. That's the good thing. It is maybe not the best in anything, but pretty much at the top of the line in everything. And the really important thing for me, it has no real flaws. The only flaw is the power button, slightly muffled sound, but good volume. The battery life is good, not perfect though. But in overall, the package is extremely solid. So that's it for my Oppo Find 7a review. Why there is no 7 review yet, you will find out pretty quick, because I will do a mini review of the Find 7. It will be mini, but mostly because the Find 7a is so great. Keep this in mind. So I hope you like this new form factor. Let me know in the comments if you don't like it at all, if the video is maybe even again too long. I don't really know. We will see. But yep, until next time, bye.